Welcome back into Play the Fight Song College Football Show. Am I screaming there, JP? Did I take you off guard?
Yeah, you were modulating a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just so excited.
Excited.
Took a lot of people off guard there because it's not Cam's voice. So if you're joining us for the first time, appreciate you jumping in. My name is Jake. I'm not always your host every week, but I am joined by a couple of co-hosts, Reese, JP. A couple of the boys are here. Parks is out. Do I got to say it? Like, where's Parks? He's on business. If you don't know where Parks is at, he's just on business. He's a businessman. He's got important things to do. No, this is not our full-time job if we have to answer that for the 100th time. But we love college football. We're sickos like you guys, and we're talking college football in the middle of March Madness. What else would we be doing? So we're excited to jump in. We will do a little bit of March Madness ties, I guess, talk, but we'll, of course, we got to tie it into college football. Boys, how we doing? Have we gotten over our sadness from the World Baseball Classic loss last night?
Pure frustration. It sounds like you're not
putting it
through the microphone on your deal. Like it sounds like you're, I don't know, coming through like your headphones maybe. Or
I shouldn't be. Let me double check on that.
Double check. Me and Reese will complain.
All right, how about now?
Infuriating.
There you go.
All right. Sorry about that.
There you go.
Yeah. No, the World Baseball Classic was infuriating. And it wasn't once the U.S. played anybody with a pulse, it was like pulling teeth in a lot of situations to get base runners and to get hits in big spots. And that's like the opposite of everybody's worry going into that. So, my guy Gunnar had a couple of good games, missed his spot.
Couldn't tell you who that is.
But it was frustrating because pitching showed up every week and they just couldn't swing it for whatever reason, right?
Just the Italian, but yeah. But then it's how many studs they have to. They just couldn't string an inning together of multiple hits. It was here's a single, with 12, here's a home run.
Venezuela, is that who they lost to? Venezuela. Yeah. Okay.
Who is like other than Dominican and Puerto Rico, they're
they're a good baseball team.
They're firmly third in like what you think of.
They are solid. Yeah, they beat Japan, who Japan was probably nutty too, who would have gave us fits as well.
The whole thing is like Reese was saying, like even if they got a hit, because a lot of times they were sub 6-7 hits in games that mattered, which is blasphemy. But if they were getting one, they were getting it with 1 out or 2 outs. They weren't getting it, and stringing things.
We weren't grinding an at bat to get a walk, and then that guy getting a two strike hit, and then somebody hits a gap. It's just,
man, I got you guys rolling on baseball talk now. This is inside baseball right here.
I also had to work last night. I'm going to the computer in the back of Shields, like as I'm just restocking things, and I keep going as I'm going back, I'm like, oh, it's the bottom of the third inning. Oh, it's over. We went 1, 2, 3. Oh, bottom of the fourth. 1, 2, 3. It's over. Like. Somebody put supposed to do something, guys. Mm-hmm. Bats on balls, as Shape says.
Bats on balls. My favorite quote was from our friend Drew, who's texted in our group chat. If you lose the World Baseball Classic, it's just an exhibition. But if you win, like you rule the world, and it's the greatest thing ever. That felt about right because I didn't really see too many people tweeting about the game last night after they lost. Just so
we just aired it down that group chat.
We missed a comment here. Or I think you showed it.
There's a couple. Yeah. So I was going to get to this. So shout out to GA, AWL, every single week. Absolute sicko.
Member of the band.
He goes
doing the mic stuff.
What do you mean? Yeah. I just changed it over. There's no way. It's probably went back. Don't go back. Why are we going back? No, it is on my. I don't know. We're going to make it work.
Go ahead on this one.
I was going to say, GA comments in, Parks snuck off to OKC. He's implying that Parks is going to Oklahoma City to watch Nebraska basketball. Breaking news, GA. And this is a big hot topic within the friend group. Parks is not a Nebraska basketball fan. Or a Creighton fan. He's a Georgetown fan. I'll let him defend that whenever he comes back on the show. But I think it's absolute blasphemy that he does not root for Nebraska basketball. And he's like, well, they're bad every year. And I'm like, that doesn't give you a reason to not cheer for the same team when you pull for their baseball and football team. Just feels like it's a full circle. Like if Iowa State had a baseball team, I probably wouldn't care, but I'd probably root for them. Like it's just kind of the same thing. I know it's not your sport. It's not your sport.
She was there for the Paul Rhodes years.
Paul Rhodes. Yeah, of course I will. Well, football, yeah, I'll be there for football. I'm saying like a program of sport you don't really care about, and even if they sucked, it's still my school. It's still Cardinal and Gold. Like I'm gonna root for him. So yeah, I just outed Parks there. He's not a Nebraska basketball fan. Bad time to not be, and bad time to be a Georgetown fan, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. Nebraska might.
I
go
mean, the
back
first
to
time
winning
in
8
first time
games
in the
conference
history
play,
of
and
the
then they'll
world.
stop going to the games again.
Hoyball. This might be
Hoyball.
this might be a decade straight, fellas. He might be able to figure it out. He might
Don't
be
they
able to
graduate like half that roster, and then a couple of them are rumored to transfer?
Oh, that doesn't matter in the modern day of college sports, JP. Don't you know that? That's roster turnover. That's fine. He's transfer. He was transfer king at Iowa State. He knows how to figure out transfers. He'll be all right.
He was taking people with like records, not paying a $100 million.
You know how to put a ball in a hoop. You can do that for me.
People talk about Greg Oden be a bust. You remember the guy Royce White who couldn't even like just board a plane, and that just ruined his career in the NBA?
Yeah, well, Royce White. Yeah, Royce White was.
What to talk about? Some big men. Rakeem Christmas.
Good pull. We're not
Syracuse Orange, Reese.
What a name.
We are not going to do we're not going to do the thing where we go like
just naming guys.
Johnny Flynn. Like we're not going to do that for an hour.
Dude, the chat would love it. The chat can come in and do that.
We got a lot to get to. I will allow the chat to put any random college basketball names in while we're podcasting. That's
Wes Washburn.
Green light is go for that one. But fellas, we got, maybe you see my doc here. We got a lot to get to. We got a lot to get to tonight. And not just March Madness talk. So again, if you're joining us for the first time, take a second, subscribe to the channel, like the video, shout out to our partners, shopnorivals.com, the best hats in collegiate sports. Reese is always rocking. Reese has like the best design collection, I think, of all No Rivals guys. He just has like some of the best hats. He's got that Kentucky one that's always sick. And go get yourself one. Like my brother texted me. He was down in KC for the Big 12 basketball tournament last week, and he's like, dude, like no joke, No Rivals is freaking everywhere. Like the amount of people wearing the basketball ones is insane.
We were in Mexico, and there's a chick wearing a Knoxville, Tennessee No Rivals hat. I said, I look at the chick, I said, No Rivals right there. Like it's everywhere.
It is everywhere, and we appreciate them for being with us, and for them for being them from the beginning. And it's been a sick ride. We're not growing as much as they are, but it's been a fun ride to be on. And we're happy to be their partner. Go and check them out. PTFS at checkout gets you free shipping on all the best hats in collegiate sports. So go and check those guys out again at shopnorivals.com. Subscribe to the channel before we jump into everything. Fellas, I'm trying to look at the doc here. Let's start with our question of the day, as kind of we always do in our in our off-season stuff. Question of the day was JP, did you put this one in the doc or who did? I kind of like this one. But I don't think my answers are very good. So I'm going to defer to you guys first. But the question is, which conference really needs which team to step up? JP, since it was you, I'll let you go first.
I had Michigan State in the Big Ten. Now, I know that you can kind of go to the back and forth with, they won 3 national titles consecutively, 3 different schools. They have Oregon and USC who's bumped that up. Indiana's now bumped up. Washington helps. But for me, I think they need a little bit of that. You've been in the Big Ten for a while to bump back up. Like Penn State's been up there, but they need like a 2021 type run of Michigan State, a really good D'Antoni area. Oh my God. D'Antoni era. There you go.
How now?
That's the era they need back. And if that happens and Pat Fitzgerald gets them in a spot where they're consistently 8-9 fighting for 10 wins every year, that only amplifies the Big Ten because it makes the Michigan rivalry a little better. You know, it sits there and it brings up other teams who sit in that middle tier, and you have to fight to get out of that middle tier even more. So I'd push back, and just for quick thought, I don't have a Big Ten team down, but would you argue Nebraska is more important to their success as the Big Ten than Michigan I would
State?
say they haven't been successful. So
right, but
to
championship standards, yes,
it wouldn't hurt in the slightest. It'd probably give you the extra pop because it would give you that nostalgia feeling to the rest of the country. But it's been longer right? That they
Yeah.
were in the spotlight. And I feel like the Michigan State one makes sense because now they're battling Michigan in a big rivalry. That's part of the, the Big Ten East and how it ran things. So I think that's a big one because it's not a bad fan base at all.
Mhm.
They're up, they're going in, they're fully invested. They kind of had a rough run recently. And when they're back, I think it's just one of those in the middle tier, right? Program wise.
Sure.
I think people think Nebraska before they think Michigan State football wise in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those middle tier programs that if it takes a step up, it becomes, oh, well, you had Michigan State. That's in SEC talk. They'd be like, oh yeah, well, I was on the road at Auburn, or I was on the road at fill in the blank, South Carolina. You know what I mean? You don't get to say, they get to now use Michigan State as one of those puzzle pieces rather than, oh, you had Michigan State on your schedule.
I kind of kept a Big Ten team off my list just for the fact that Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State have kind of carried the torch for this long. Like, I feel like other conferences need other teams to step up to build their conference regiment and their respect. So that's kind of the reason why I didn't do a Big Ten team. I don't think that's a wrong answer, but it's a good one to think about. But I just think those three, if they stay as good as they are right now, and Indiana, if they continue to kind of just be a powerhouse, like those four can always carry the big noon slate of being on the big noon kickoff, getting the ratings, all that stuff. But I don't think a Michigan State or Nebraska would definitely hurt the Big Ten if they got any better. But Reese, which one do you got next?
Say, well, which conference you going with, Shafe? I'll zig where you zag.
I got Big 12, ACC, and the new Pac-12.
Oh, so you got multiple. Okay, well, let me go. I'll go Big 12 then, I think. I'll let you go ACC since you love your Big 12. I'm going to go. It's a team. Recently, they've been successful, but this last year was their worst season they've had. And I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. I just think with the Big 12, like, we'll talk about over-under on wins that have been released for this year, but like the Big 12, I think Texas Tech, like sitting at the top, you have to have these kind of middle-tier teams start to get back to being relevant and being able to push the envelope for those top teams like Baylor, TCU, like those teams. I don't think we've seen them be as competitive lately. And Oklahoma State, we saw them, year in and year out, they're going to be a 7. I mean, they're in Iowa of the Big 12. I think is a great way of putting it. Like they're going to be a successful and competitive team year in and year out. But if they can find a way to catch the fire with Eric Morris and Messmaker this year, and I mean, get some momentum going into like him being a guy there long term. Like Oklahoma State, they're kind of adjacent to like Stillwater. Like that is what that town knows. That is what they're about.
That's Big 12 country. It's one of Big 12's country.
Yeah, if you can get football going there, like it means a lot to that area. And also, I mean, too, like you got you probably your big brother and guys in Norman in the SEC. Like, so if you want to keep that rivalry and find a way to get that thing to get back going, I think Oklahoma State in the Big 12, like they have to become more of a player because if Texas Tech is just going to continue and get that oil money year in and year out and just be able to separate themselves, like also if you want multiple teams in the Big 12 to make a chance to take it to the end of the year at the playoff, like you got to have a BYU and Oklahoma State, somebody else at the top that's going to challenge Texas Tech at the end of the year.
I'll zag and say that I had Texas Tech down just because I don't think they need somebody to compete with them. I think right now where the Big 12 stands, I think they need a Texas Tech to dominate the league. And we will talk about their over-under win total. Just my perspective. I just think the Big 12 needs somebody who can hold their own in the playoff, run through the regular season, at least to this point right now. And maybe things will change in a couple of years once they continue to keep their dominance. And it's like, all right, can somebody compete with them? But like next year, we got to get Texas Tech to the playoff and win a damn playoff game and be competitive and like show the Big 12 its respect. I think they need it bad. I think they hurt from last year. Last year was their opportunity, but I think they'll get another shot clearly with the auto bids and stuff. But Texas Tech was my Big 12 team right now. We'll go a different route. I go the new Pac-12. I talked about this team last week and how about them being back kind of to their quote unquote glory days, but they've still been a really successful program, and it's Boise State. Listen, the new Pac-12 will never, I shouldn't say never, I shouldn't speak in absolutes, but I don't think it's ever going to gain the respect of another Power 5 conference again. I don't think they're ever going to move in that conversation. But if they were to, they're going to need programs to step up and dominate the G5. Like right now, I still consider the American being above this new Pac-12. Like that's where I see the G6 rankings as far as conferences. So you need a couple of these teams to step up, go 11-1, because you're probably going to play Power 4 teams every year and get a playoff spot and win. And for me, it'd be Boise State. Now you could maybe argue Oregon State or Washington State. Those are two good arguments, but I like Boise State. I think the fans are super passionate there. And I think that's a program. I think they lack a little bit as far as money, but I don't think it's going to be a detriment of how much success they could have in this new league. We'll see if they ever get there, but the Pac-12 needs somebody to dominate the league as they move forward with the future. They have Gonzaga in basketball. That's going to help, but you don't have a Gonzaga in the football conference right now. So they got to find somebody. So Boise State was my pick for this. I have one other one. Any others?
I got a low hanging fruit one.
ACC.
Yeah,
ahead,
the ACC is kind of low hanging fruit. So let's talk about it.
I think there's a couple in the ACC. Fruit, but Florida State.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, I mean, it's self-explanatory.
I have another one, but yeah.
Were you throwing Clemson in there, Reese, or where are you going?
Vatech.
Yeah. No, I would.
Because I like the Florida State, but I was thinking when Norvell had that season, Jordan Travis goes down, they get something out of playoff. Like he had that great. I think that was his second year there. Like, what if he's just not a long-term coach that school's going to have? Like, what if they just don't have long-term success with that guy?
Mm-hmm.
And so he isn't going to be there long-term. And like we've seen James Franklin going to be successful at Penn State. So if Florida State's going to go down, you need somebody to step up. And I think James Franklin is a coach who can get in there right away. And like, look at the guy he's already turning over and being able to recruit and get to come in the portal to play for him. So I think Blacksburg and Virginia Tech becoming relevant in the ACC again, I think would be massive for that conference because, who knows where Clemson is going to be in the next couple of years. I don't see Clemson going to like a 6-6 consistently. I think they're going to be a competitive team year in and year out just because of what they have established there. But let's see what they can do in Blacksburg because I think they can push the envelope too for the ACC.
I wonder.
Would agree.
That's a good one because they also made a hire and have shown the investment. Mm-hmm. So if it pops, right? Like I always talk about the 2021
better
game.
Than what Florida State's doing right now.
Yeah. I was going to segue into that. It's a great call out. Virginia Tech has shown they're going to go get a coach. They're going to put money into it. And if you could bottle up that 2021 Thursday night game when Sam Howell in North Carolina came into Blacksburg, that's the atmosphere they want back. And that wasn't a very good Virginia Tech team, but they won that football game and it was all eyes across the country on Blacksburg and Lane Stadium. I talk about that a lot, but I could feel that sitting in a bar in Rochester, Minnesota, that kind of energy. Florida State, what's a more popular topic right now? The 2026 season or your coaching hot board? Like for fans, you got to be honest and look at them and say, I think it's getting more clicks of coaching hot board and people want to discuss.
They've already punted on the year. You can already tell.
You have podcasts and fans and all this stuff who literally stop making content, because they're not investing anything. They're not listening to anybody. They haven't done anything to change or, enhance the situation. So why should I be doing the same? So two very different sides of the spectrum, investment, non-investment. And we've seen more teams invest than not recently. Florida State's a sore thumb. Out, right?
Like Florida State was basically like, hey guys, we really don't want to pay this buyout, so we're going to try and get through it one more year. And that's Florida State. Like Texas A&M did the Jimbo thing, LSU with Brian Kelly. Like they paid these buyouts and they're ready to move on. Like,
can the Seminole tribe donate money to Florida State for the buyout?
When I consider
they own the Hard Rock casino.
Oh, do they? Okay. Learn something new every day. When I consider Florida State, like Florida State is still a top 10 brand in college football. Like you just need to be somewhat relevant and people will talk about you. Like I'm talking 8 to 9 wins. And I think people are going to talk about Florida State. That's all it takes. And they're doing the bare minimum right now.
A game, you need to be in November with a shot.
Competitive in November
to get to the ACC title. And then you are the talk of the town.
That's
realistic situation.
Top 3 helmet in college football.
So I had Florida State, but Virginia Tech's a good one. And I'm sure we're going to, if we had to, talk ACC preview in March, like I think for Virginia Tech will be in a better situation in November than where Florida State will be right now. But college football's proved us wrong before, so we wait and see that out. Any others?
I
think those are all good ones. Yeah, I think we kind of hit it on every perspective.
Question, probably not, but if we twisted it a little, there's probably more. Like if you were like teams you'd like to see step up, or
what about the SEC? Like the SEC still has Bama, Georgia. I think they still have their powers. Like there's nobody in the SEC I think needs to step up at this point. Do you?
I mean, it depends what you mean by step up, because I feel like they're all invested outside of maybe a Mississippi State.
Yeah.
It looks like Kentucky reinvested, Auburn reinvested.
Yep.
To me, the thing with the SEC is that there's already enough at the top. And even if one or two fall, like we talked about, Texas kind of was a hot topic, but it wasn't relevant it was relevant, but it wasn't, the top 2 or 3 teams I was talking about. They're going to kind of shuffle through the top, and whether that conference is the best in the country or second or third or whatever it is, it's still going to get the clicks.
People are always going to talk about them.
Engagement. Yep. They're still going to be part of, opening a show for whoever, probably us at some point too. Like it's never not going to be a focal point unless it literally gets bad to like where the ACC is, which seems unfathomable at this exact moment. But
no, I think that's a good point. That's exactly my thoughts on there. So that's our question of the day. Which conference needs which team to step up? Let us know in the comments if you guys think we missed any, but I think we kind of nailed it there. Let's just move on to recent news within the sport. Let's do this one. This one's sick, but I was kind of excited to break this one down. I don't know how much you guys have on this, but let's talk about it. I love schedule releases. It's my favorite thing to look at in the middle of March, waiting for football to come back around. And the Sun Belt and Conference USA both released their full schedules last Friday. And there's just some college football drama in the middle of it, as both of them released Louisiana Tech's conference schedule. If you guys haven't been seeing the news, basically Louisiana Tech fully accepted that they're going to be in the Sun Belt. They even put out their schedule with the Sun Belt schedule, but Conference USA is like, whoa, like not so fast. Like you're not getting out of this alive. From my understanding, they're just waiting Louisiana Tech to pay their way out a little more that they probably owe our friend. And another AWL, Friday KC, kind of holds the torch for Conference USA. And he's just like, good riddance. Like, we want you out, but you got to pay your way out. And I kind of agree there. And the president for Louisiana Tech's been very vocal about the regionality and the rivalries kind of being renewed within the Sun Belt, and Louisiana Tech and the Sun Belt makes a ton of sense. It really does. So I'm excited to see him there, but we'll kind of see how that mess unfolds. I can get started, or if anybody else has any points, like any takeaways from either the Sun Belt or Conference USA schedule release, so like some games to look at or main points that caught your eye.
Yeah, I was kind of pulling this up, and to me, like, to stay on the Louisiana Tech side of this, like, for me, that's a program who was really good, had a really good couple of years right after COVID, and then kind of fallen to the wayside, and has still always been one of the better looked at programs in Conference USA. Now, bumping into the Sun Belt feels like a little bit of a step up, where there are more teams that are invested in football, like a James Madison, like an App State, right? It feels like Troy has kind of gone into that as well. You kind of have to look at it and kind of swallow your pride and be like, okay, you're going in there with Sonny Cumbie. Better year last year, a couple before, but what's the next step after this? Is it? It's probably surely money and retain a rivalry and play.
Don't lose to Louisiana Monroe is going to be my point.
And you get to that point, and I feel like maybe that's the little kick that program needs, is like a more of a realization situation. I would have realized that if I'm finishing bottom half of the Conference USA, but to each their own. Maybe you get last at the Sun Belt. You really got to figure it out.
Yeah. Quick takeaways for Conference USA. Western Kentucky. They took the what do they call those if they're the G5 program? I call them the bye games if you're a P4 team, but they're getting the money games, I guess, as you want to call it. Fellas, they have at Georgia and then at Indiana the very next week. And this is a team with Coach Helton
out of Kent State's playbook.
It is, and it's a little surprising because WKU, like, they're a good football team, and they're going to be in the mix at the end like they always are, and their offense is up and running. Last year, they played LSU at the end of the year, so they don't have that SEC November game because the SEC moved to 9 conference games, so they don't really have that they can fall back on. But, oh, my God, like, could you picture 2 tougher road trips back-to-back weeks in Georgia and Indiana? And that's a team, like, get out of there alive, but you got to do it 2 weeks in a row and not get embarrassed either. Like, it's a program that holds themselves high and they want to be competitive amongst the best. But I don't know who signed him up for that, but my God, I just saw that. I'm like,
it's a tough recruiting pitch. Who do you want to come next year?
That was just like, yeah, recruiting pitches. Hey, get some film against the big boys.
You want to get some film against some guys you want to maybe go play for next year?
Yeah. So that was the first one that caught my eye. The second one, if we stay in Conference USA, Liberty, Jack State, and FIU do not play a Power 4 team, which I kind of thought was interesting. Those are also 3 other teams who I think they're compete at the top half. Like, I look at it and say, dare I say, are they going to try to schedule quote unquote easy and comparable opponents? So maybe Conference USA can get an 11-1, 12-0 bid at the end of the year. I mean, Jack State and Liberty are going to be good enough to maybe do it.
I feel like it depends so much. I feel like the American will always have a couple, and probably a couple who can beat some lower P4s. So for them they get North Dakota State though. Jacksonville State does. So like, put yourself on the map immediately. Go ahead. Right. Eastern Kentucky at Ohio. We always know Ohio's pretty solid. Georgia Southern's not an easy one either. So like, they went and got formidable opponents from these.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, let's pick somebody from the Mountain West. Let's go grab, I don't even know, bottom of the Mountain West, a San Jose State.
Wyoming. I've seen Wyoming on some people's schedules.
Let's go to the MAC and grab Kent State. No, they got Ohio. Let's go to the Sun Belt and grab, again, fill in the blank with whoever you want to. No, they took Georgia Southern, who's pretty good.
Yeah.
Phil's, mixing a lot up, and then at the same time, Delaware here, like, I feel like second year in the program, not the easiest draw here. They get Jack State, Louisiana Tech, at Kennesaw, at Missouri State, Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
They play Vandy and Virginia on the road, and Coastal.
Their P4 draws are tough.
I think it's West Virginia, not Virginia, but I get what you're saying.
It's Virginia.
Is it Virginia? I thought it was West Virginia.
Week 4.
Okay.
Yep.
Reese, any takeaways for you? You
that's
the point on Delaware.
That's literally where I said I was going with Delaware. I think I was low on them last year. Then they proved me wrong. So it's like you went and scheduled some tougher Power 4 conference games this year. So like, if you want to make the CUSA and your team a little bit relevant, like Vanderbilt's a tough get, but we'll see where kind of Virginia goes. Are they able to repeat success this year? Because not saying that's a completely ungettable game, but not saying Virginia is the most intimidating atmosphere to go play a football game in. But if it's
talk bad on Charlottesville.
If it's early in the year, I mean, the guy at Virginia might be fired up. At the same time, like, can you go in there and steal a football game? Because then that bodes well for your program for the rest of the year. So kind of got my eye on that one.
Another one I thought in the Sun Belt, kind of the same route as Liberty, Jack State, and FIU. I don't believe James Madison plays a Power 4 opponent, to my knowledge. I'd have to go back and double check, but they do have a dandy game, like week 3 or 4. They go to San Diego State, and I got my eye on that one because usually in week 3 or 4, the slate's really light, and you have a conference champ in James Madison going on the road to basically, which would have been a Mountain West Conference title team, just based off bad, I guess, points at the end of the year. San Diego State didn't get in.
Yeah,
I love that game. Billy Napier going to San Diego to play Sean Lewis's team.
They get Liberty.
About Billy Napier going there.
By Wagner at San Diego State, and then their other one is UConn late at UConn.
Yeah. So they're same thing. They're trying to run the table and go 12-0.
Yes, but they get one of the tougher Sun Belt schedules I've seen in a bit.
Yep.
Coastal.
Yep.
Southern Miss.
They'll be good again. Yeah.
Troy. You can't assume App is going to be as bad as they've been the last couple of years.
Yep.
Marshall and Georgia Southern and ODU.
The only person they miss is themselves. the top of the Sun Belt, honestly.
The Big 12 conference scheduling when Texas Tech looks at it.
Oh my God, Again, we're going to talk about them in a second because my Lord. The last point I wanted to make is I couldn't, because the Big 12 always does this, and the Big 12 finds themselves going to a G5 opponent. 3 or 4 teams do it every year. The only one I found this year so far was Houston. They're going to play at, you mentioned this team before, JP, was Georgia Southern. They play at Georgia Southern, and I hate that game for a Willie Fritz team who's trying to compete at the top of the league. Like, that's just a bad spot to be in. Like, that's out of all the Sun Belt teams, like, that's the one you want to pick. I mean, outside of like James Madison or something, or maybe App. Yeah, I don't want to go to Georgia Southern.
I think teams have learned their lesson going to App.
Yeah. So that was interesting. And then also Georgia Southern plays at Clemson and at Jack State. So they've got a rough non-con again to see if they can bounce out of it.
Wyoming always seems to find their way into hosting one of these teams.
Yeah, they do. And I don't think they do this year. Because what they hosted BYU 2 years ago, I think Utah last year.
Tech's been there.
Texas Tech was a couple of years ago, and the Big
Yeah,
12
they
has been
don't
like, we're
they don't
good.
get anybody.
Houston was just like, well, nobody goes to our home games anyway, so we might as well just go out to Georgia and try to recruit for a little bit. That's fine. We'll do we'll do that route. So I was
doesn't play
the same
either.
thing.
No power conference games at all.
I feel like this would be the time to pick or get Wyoming on your schedule. I don't know. It feels like the time. Don't get them later. But that's kind of some sicko talk with some Sunbelt Conference USA schedule release. Let's move on to the other recent news. And this one is just, if you know myself and my brother, my co-host on the Iowa State Fan Perspective, these are our favorites. Win totals are out. Win totals weren't released this early last year, right? Because of the spring portal. Like, I don't remember them being that early.
We had I don't think they were, but we had a super early win totals episode.
Yeah.
And we did a legitimate win totals episode in June, I think.
Yep. I think you're right. But to get these this early is awesome. Again, like preview magazines hopefully come out earlier because we know our rosters. I think it's, I want to give him a shout out because he's a good follow. Punts and Rallies, I think his name is. He tweeted out like all the rosters that are confirmed for this year. We're up to like 100 out of 138 that are official, like rosters are in place. So when I hear that, that's just awesome. And I'm ready to deep dive into it. For me, I'll just talk about them right away because I've already mentioned it a couple of times. Some early surprises and things that stood out for these early win totals. Texas Tech. Does anybody know? Does anybody want to take a guess at what Texas Tech win total is this year?
It's 11.5.
I know what it is.
Yeah, it is 11 and a half. And it was,
who else is 11 and a half?
Yeah, hit me. Who is it?
Notre Dame.
Okay. That's not as surprising, but that is interesting to know because I don't think, to my knowledge, we didn't have a single, like once we really got towards the season, like in June when we did that episode, there was not an 11 and a half out there for any team in college football this year. And I would imagine because the juice is heavily on the under right now. It's like plus 173 if you want to take Texas Tech to go undefeated. So maybe it'll come down towards June or July. But I mean, if you look at Texas Tech's schedule, it makes perfect sense. It is an absolute cakewalk and a joke. And it goes back to all of our other topics we've already talked about, like Texas Tech. No question about it. You have to go undefeated this year. Like you can't slip up. I don't care who it is. You got to go undefeated and dominate everybody this year. But there's no chance in hell I'm taking money on Joey McGuire to go perfect in a season. I've already talked about. I don't think he's just playing with good players. I don't necessarily think he's the coach that's to compete for championships, in my opinion.
Well, I thought the Ohio State 9.5 was interesting. I think they talked about
another one on my list.
Saw that one.
I think they said maybe they're just baking in a loss at Texas, and so that you're only playing with one Big Ten loss, and it's not an easy Big Ten schedule.
They have a tough road schedule. Like that road is no joke.
It is one of the toughest schedules I've seen. And and a lot of people talking like this is the toughest schedule Ohio State's had in quite some time. I don't know if anybody's got it pulled up.
For those of you who don't know, the road games are Texas, Iowa, Indiana, USC, and their toughest home games they get Oregon and Michigan.
So you just named their road games. None of those teams won less than 9 games last year.
Yeah, that road schedule is tough. At least you get Oregon at home.
Yeah. At least you get Oregon at home, right, Reese? Yeah,
that's tough.
I don't know. Like, it's way too early to talk about it, but God, like they'll make the playoff at 9-3. Like, but Ohio State fans they'd be raising it if they went 9-3.
Where's the losses at? Who do they give a loss to bump that team from 9-3 to 10-2? You know,
now
with a tough schedule. That's what happens.
Yeah. They'll talk about the tough schedule. It'll just be like the strength of schedule talk all November. Will be strength of schedule talk.
Win total, I also thought were intriguing, just staying in the Big Ten. Where did they put Michigan State? Michigan State 3.5. Is it 4.5 or 3.5?
I can check.
Checking.
3.5.
Moving 3.5.
And you know what though? Fitzgerald thrives on that shit. Like that's where he made his living at Northwestern was being like a 3.5 win total.
One Big Ten game if they win all their non-cons. Okay, I should have full.
And then when their win total is over 8.5 next year, take the under.
Yep.
And it's going to go just flip it back again.
What about this one while you pull up that schedule, JP? This one's kind of telling. Alabama, 8.5, and the juice to the over is not much. It's almost dead money right now for Alabama, 8.5. And if Kalen DeBoer goes 8-4, oh my God. Oh my God. That's just, I was like, in Vegas, this doesn't tell everything, but Vegas has a pretty decent idea when they put these things together.
I mean, can we talk about how no SEC teams have a 10.5? Everybody's 9.5. The best is Texas and Georgia at 9.5, and you have
good point.
LSU, Alabama, and Texas A&M at 8.5, and I think Ole Miss, and somebody else was 7.5.
We got to be done with the 10.5s being the norm. Like that's got to be the outliers now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because
we're saying that's been the norm for the SEC is what we're saying.
Yes. Yep. And that might be a nod to they think a lot of this is going to flatten out, right? They think Georgia's going to get a little better. They think Texas is obviously going to get better. Maybe Alabama's a step back. A&M, LSU taking steps up. To me, if you're looking at that, it's probably, and they're going to 9 games conference schedule?
Yep.
That probably is a little baked into that because it's going to be hell on earth if these all come true and there's only 1 or 2 10-2 teams and you're looking for SEC teams to put in there and they're like, well, I had 9 conference games in the SEC and everybody's just going to point up to the Big Ten and be like, they've been playing 9 and they've had this amount of teams that have been just as good. Right. So that's my whole thing with that is like, if you thought they were allowed with an 8-game schedule, now you've given them a 9-game schedule. Now, do they go? How does the committee look at it now? Like they were already kind of given the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the last couple of years, last year a little less. Does it go the opposite way? And like you play in 1 more, no matter what the outcome is, you kind of get that bump back up. 9-3 is the new 10-2, 10-2 is the new 11-1 kind of thing.
I mean, it is at this point. I mean, especially with the rosters, like we know the rosters, but we don't know these teams yet. So the last one I thought was interesting, and it was funny. Nebraska, 5.5. Like we don't have a Matt Rule year 4 bump.
Yeah, GA, I need actual perspective. I wish I could ask Parks for like a Nebraska one to listen to.
Well,
but I actually want to hear.
I didn't even look at that.
Yeah, I just want to know what that fan base actually feels like and what's actually going on in that world. And Parks should be able to do it, but he's not here. I am curious on that. Like, that's not the number I thought I'd see. I thought I was going to see like the Iowa stamp at 7-5.
Yeah, at least
kind of thing.
Yeah,
but yeah, that one is low. 6-6 is not going to make literally anybody because that's regression.
Yeah.
Yep.
7-5 could feel like regression too, depending on how you look at it.
I mean, there will be. I don't know. I don't think Parks will be a part of this. I really don't. He seems pretty. I don't know. He seems pretty cordial or pretty. I don't know about like not overreacting to Nebraska stuff, which is pretty anti-Parks. But I think if Matt Rule goes 6-6, like there will be a good contingent of Nebraska fans. I think wanting a change, they won't get a change. Like if he goes to a bowl game, like let's not. I don't know. Put lipstick on a pig here, but I think that 6-6 would have a lot of Nebraska fans.
Is that really the worry, GA? I thought it's got to be personnel because they love the coaching hires they made and the additions they made in that realm.
Yep.
Is it purely personnel, like not enough bodies along the line of scrimmage to fix that? You lose Emmett Johnson and then a quarterback that you can't necessarily just lean on to sling it around the yard. Like I'll have to go listen to some stuff and really see it because I haven't dove in, like Jake said, like we know these rosters, but we haven't dove into these rosters yet.
Yeah.
So that's a low number for a program that is really looking for 8-9 here soon. The Michigan State schedule, going back to that. Sorry.
Yeah.
So Reese confirmed 3.5. Yes.
Yes.
So
3.5 is crazy.
So their non-cons are Toledo, Eastern Michigan, Notre Dame. So you come 2-1 out of that. And I need 2 more. Okay, you play Nebraska, Illinois, Northwestern, Washington, Oregon, all at home, and you're at Wisconsin.
Like you get one of those.
You hope you go at Wisconsin, at UCLA, at Michigan, at Rutgers. So your games, to me, you're circling to be like, we can go and win this football game. Nebraska, Wisconsin, Northwestern, UCLA, Rutgers.
See, I think there was 3 or 4 you said that I would think.
Yeah,
for
those
sure.
are. I mean, coin flip.
Gettable.
Will probably be a
Gettable.
dog in a couple of
Gettable.
these. 3.5 seems low, fellas.
Yeah, you know, Justin
I mean, it was juiced. It was juiced.
You know, Justin likes to take these win totals in the middle of March. Like that might be one you run to the table and you grab before others jump on. Like how much juice, Reese? Like was it 140 or something?
150.
150. Okay, maybe you wait for 4.5. I'm still betting on Fitz to maybe win 5 games. So GA says, but we heard about the great coaches so many times. They never found the deep ball. Highly touted linebacker transfers didn't do anything. You lost your best assistant at USC. It's a good point. He's tired of disappointment. Tired of disappointment's a good way to put it, but I would also say to Nebraska fans, not you specifically, GA, but I'd say to Nebraska fans, maybe we don't set the bar so high. You want to live your life and have high expectations, but I think that's where Nebraska fans find each other so many times is when they try to get their high hopes and
they have
always
a couple
come short.
Like 2 game. I think their schedule is in 2 game stretches. That's how I'm looking at Nebraska's schedule here.
Yep.
Read me. I haven't looked at their schedule.
Yeah.
Read me it.
So they, it kind of stinks that we're doing all this Nebraska talk without Parks, but
I kind of love it. It's hilarious.
So I'll give you their 3 bye games: Ohio, Bowling Green, North Dakota. Okay, Big Ten schedule to start. This is called you better get these 2 or it's going to be a rough start. At Michigan State, Maryland at home.
Got to get those 2. Yep.
And then you go Indiana at home, at Oregon. Okay, that's a
tough.
Hello, Marjorie. Bye week, Washington at home, at Illinois. This is called prove you're better than the
in the middle. Yep.
Okay, and then there's this one little buffer right here at Rutgers. I'm just going to leave that. And then Ohio State at home, at Iowa. That's kind of like where are we at?
Yeah, those are 2 game stretches. Yeah, you're not wrong there.
You could call that middle of Washington at Illinois define the season type stretch. And then Ohio State, Iowa is kind of where are we now and readjust.
I'm seeing Iowa or Nebraska at 6.5 on the.
Is it?
Okay. I see, but it's plus money at 6.5.
Must have changed already.
Probably
it's plus 120 at.
Will Compton made me he probably rattled his mouth and people started taking the over already because I do think he already talked about it.
Yeah, the under's juice. The under's 148. But yeah, it's at 6.5.
I love it.
Just check that, and then I'll do mine. The team that I was in the Big Ten that I think kind of sticks out. I mean. They didn't get rid of this coach because I think they wanted a little bit more faith in him, but Wisconsin's at 6.5 this year, and the over is pretty juiced. It's at 142.
Yeah, I'm going
but
under.
I mean, if you look at the schedule, they don't get any of the big boys. No Oregon State, or Ohio State, Oregon, or Indiana. They go on the road to Penn State and Iowa are the kind of their tougher ones. And then at home, you get Minnesota, Michigan State, and USC. And then they do open the year with Notre Dame, which is the tough one.
Yeah.
It's a neutral site in Wisconsin or in Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Weird, whatever. But then, you have Western Illinois and Eastern Michigan for your other 2 after that. But I think
I got 4 wins at a lock right now. That's kind of what I'm reading.
Like
I got to hope you find 3 other wins.
Purdue, you get Rutgers, Maryland, Purdue, and Minnesota all to end the year. Like those are, 4. Let's see how we're doing. If you have a healthy quarterback,
but
those are
and if you're Wisconsin, like you got to survive the meat of your schedule in the beginning and hope you get no injuries and all that stuff before you get to that.
But
even
the meat of it's not that intimidating if you're looking at it.
This
Penn
is
State,
one of the easiest Big Ten schedules out there.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. That's why I'm looking at it, like 6.5. It's juice, and I can kind of see why. Like, we'll just again, they can't keep a quarterback healthy, so that's the problem number 1. But
yep, that's interesting. No, I like it. Any others before we move on to our March Madness bracket? I think that was pretty good. I think we touched on that enough. We're just sickos here talking early win totals in the middle of March as Miami, Ohio, and SMU tip off. Where else are you going to find this stuff, fellas? Where else are you going to find it? Let's take a quick break. Again, subscribe to the channel, like the video, let us know in the comments. We want to hear from you guys. If you guys are watching us live on YouTube, join the chat. We're going to break down our March Madness bracket football edition. And I'm kind of excited to get into that because we might do it a little differently than other people have if you've seen that stuff. before we do that, check out our partners at No Rivals. Shop norivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping. Sorry, had to clear my throat there. Quick question before we get into this bracket. So we're going to do a March Madness style bracket with football teams, but here's the caveat. Are we going to do it projecting the 2026 teams? Everybody did it based on.
It's got to be this year's team, right? The 2025 team.
I love talking hypotheticals. It's kind of my favorite
too.
It's kind of my favorite thing to do.
You want to do hypotheticals? All right, fine. Here we go.
Come on, Reese. This has been a sicko podcast. Let's just continue to get sicker as we move along.
All right. Here we go.
While you guys were chatting, I tried to fill out. So we don't want to do. If we're gonna try to do this live stream on YouTube and filling it out. But I have my printable bracket here. I just wrote it out. I'm trying to skip through the first round games for all the buys for teams that don't even have a football team or like a bad FCS team, so we don't have to like mess with that. I don't know if that's going to be too much for you to kind of click through here, JP. But
I got it. I'm up. It's running.
Zoom
it's working.
into each region. You know what I'm saying?
Here's what I got.
I can't so I got this one big thing.
Yep, that's perfect.
That's pretty good. Go scroll a little more.
Let's follow along. We're going to go right to the games that are toss-ups with actual football teams that are competitive. So if you want, like, for instance, you want to fill out Duke and UNI right now, go ahead. But here's the first one I got, and it's right there if you guys are watching us on YouTube. Ohio State at TCU. I know that, okay, we'll probably pencil or chalk in Ohio State. But, like, for example, those are two Power 4 teams in 2026. Going to be admirable. But I'm assuming nobody's got any rebuttal putting in Ohio State.
Nope.
Okay. Ohio State, UNI gets the win because St. John's hasn't fielded a team, I think, since 1999 is what somebody posted on Twitter. KU beating Cal Baptist. Okay. Next one. This one's kind of fun. Louisville, USF.
This would be a great game last year.
So, yeah, this would have been a good game for last year. I agree. So I guess we're just going to kind of pencil in the Jeff Brom effect and USF going through the coaching change, right? Like, probably UL winning that one. Okay.
Ooh, this gets fun.
Yes, this one's fun. This one's fun. North Dakota State, Michigan State. We already laid out the win total for you for Michigan State being at 4.5. I kind of side with Reese there, or JP, but I will say this: North Dakota State is turning a ton over. They lost their quarterback, their running back, and their receiver, basically all to graduation or the NFL draft. They're jumping into the Mountain West. Do we want to just put in Michigan or North Dakota State still? We're playing this on a neutral site field. We're playing this at Ford Field.
Are these all going to be neutral site games that we're assuming?
Yeah, we'll just factor that in. Let's factor that in because it's the March Madness, right?
With the Bison.
All right, we'll go North Dakota State beating Michigan State. This one's also kind of fun. Two mediocre teams within their respective conferences. UCF, UCLA. If you guys remember right, Bob Chesney heads to UCLA. Nico's back. UCF has Bob Chesney's old quarterback in Alonzo Barnett. But I don't know what the over-under win total for UCLA right away, but I'm just staring at this and I'm thinking I'm probably going I'm going UCF here. I think UCF in year 2 of Scott Frost makes a jump. Maybe that's the Big 12 homer in me, but I'll let you two, like we're 3 guys here.
Both
so I'll let you two be
5.5 for their wins.
I'll let you two, great poll, Reese. I'll let you two be the judging vote.
Where you going, Jordan?
I don't lean any way more hard than the other. I do worry about UCLA year 1 though.
I like UCF then.
Okay, go. Well, I was about to say, you worry that. I almost wonder if that's like let's get fired up for Chesney.
I do love Bob Chesney.
This guy.
I do. That's
what I think that's my argument for UCLA. Is like, okay, it's year 1. Maybe they get him fired up for this football game, something like that. But there are also worries.
And you know what we're going to do? I'm going to save this bracket until next year. Like, it's going to be on my desk. So that's why I also want to do this in hypotheticals and see where we were at for guessing. So I think that's going to be fun. So I don't know. Reese makes a good point, but I filled in UCF. Is that okay? We go UCF.
Nailed it.
All right, UCF it is. UConn beating Furman.
Go UConn.
Furman got a team.
Yes.
All right.
We just
didn't want to do
their. Do we want to do the whole?
They play Clemson every year.
Or do you want to go down to the?
If it's whatever's easiest for you.
Well, we're going south though. So
all right, let's go south. Florida beats. I think who won? Prairie View A&M. Doesn't matter. Florida wins that one. This one's fun.
Ooh.
Clemson, Iowa. Oh God. Both have quarterback changes. Both are sitting around the 7.5 mark for win totals. Just because you're a friend of the podcast, JP, we'll go Iowa. I don't really have any arguments against that.
It's whoever rebuilds the trenches a little better.
That's a good point.
I
trust Iowa doing that better.
I believe Iowa would get to 23 and feel comfortable enough to win that game.
That's all I needed to hear.
I think Iowa's just maintaining. Clemson seems to be in a downslide. I don't see Iowa going.
Vandy there.
I was gonna say this is easy. So unless you're gonna argue Nebraska, Troy, but I got Vandy, Nebraska, UNC, Illinois, A&M.
Before.
Which one? Nebraska, Troy? That's true. UNC, Illinois, A&M, and then nobody's got any argument. I know Idaho might give Houston fits, but we're gonna give Willie Fritz the nod, right?
Not this Idaho team.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, moving on to the West. When Reese is ready, Arizona.
Yeah, probably making some people sick as we scroll, but this is the best way to make sure.
I filled this in, and I almost regret kind of putting this in right away, fellas. I got Arizona clearly, but then Villanova, Utah State's interesting because I have no idea what Villanova 2026 looks like, but Villanova 2025 is a really good football team.
A lot of transfers, a lot of guys who saw money come into their pocket.
Yeah, didn't Iowa get a couple of their guys? One of their guys,
one of their safeties, okay, All-American. But Utah State to me was last year like Broncos big bad boys made a step up. But I think this is the next step. So I'd go Utah State, and I think they're comfortably better here. Wisconsin doesn't play.
Do you know which all these teams have football teams and which don't? I'm curious. All right, good for you. Arkansas and Hawaii. I saw a lot of people.
I just want to stand up and applaud because this would be so much fun.
It would be a great game. I saw a lot of people pick Hawaii for the 2025 matchup, and I just wholeheartedly disagree. I'm sorry. Arkansas. Yeah, Arkansas's putting 70 on them, and Hawaii's getting 50. That's just what I see. Silverfield. Yeah, I love Silverfield. I don't love Silverfield, but I think he's going to be solid. And Hawaii's going to be one of the better Mountain West teams, but we'll go Arkansas. That's fine. Us being SEC biased, that is just fine. BYU, Texas.
This sounds like the best round one playoff game of all time.
This wasn't a bad football game at all. Texas
is I don't want to ruin the rest of the bracket. Just go Texas. I think Texas is going to be really good next year.
Yeah, I think they could have given Bachmeier fits. That defense would have been good.
Yeah, but Texas and BYU, I think, are one of the more returning starter teams out of all of them. Kennesaw beats Gonzaga's fake football team.
Yes. Intramural Gonzaga winners do not beat Kennesaw State on the field.
No. Miami, Missouri. I think Missouri's going to be really good this year. I'm already hearing about Camp Buzz and spring ball on Caden Lee. That gets me excited. But then I heard Cristobal go on Jock's radio this morning with Cuban Mac, and it got me fired up. I think Miami's going to be good again. And with Darian Mensah, it's just going to be a tough team to beat.
I'm sorry, but Darian Mensah in that backfield scare the hell out of me if I'm anybody.
Yep, I agree. Miami it is. Michigan and Georgia in our next round as we move down to the Midwest region. Michigan, Georgia in a second round game is going to be a great topic. Can't wait for that.
Howard does play football, but we don't need to have that conversation.
They're going to put Michigan on the schedule this year, maybe in a couple of years.
Tech there. Go ahead with Alabama.
Let's see what the Zips win total comes out as. That's when we get real sick on here. I think I covered them when it was 2.5.
Tech, Alabama, Tennessee beating Miami of Ohio. Although Miami of Ohio's got a roster now, fellas, of $8 million.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, SMU.
Oh, SMU.
Yeah, I didn't. As I'm watching here, Miami of Ohio is winning. So maybe do I give it to? Do we say Miami of Ohio is playing Tennessee in this one?
I think. Let's take the better team. Who wins Miami, Ohio, SMU football wise? SMU wins.
SMU.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
We have to have the SMU Tennessee conversation.
No, that's a good one. Nope, I agree. You make it. You make your point, JP. That's a good one. We'll go SMU. So Reese, you switch it there on your old bracket, please.
I thought we were having the SMU Tennessee.
You want to have the Tennessee SMU conversation, is what I was saying.
Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
I can hear it. Based on what I barely know about these teams right now, returning quarterback, returning coach, I think the defense needs to be a little better for both teams this year than they were 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be really interesting. But if you put them on a neutral site,
he's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you play
5.5.
Yeah. You play this in New York in the beginning of November or September, and it's I think less than a touchdown point spread. So
The worry is I feel that Tennessee did more on the defensive front to get a lot better than SMU did.
Yeah,
And I
they
think
got that kid from
SMU
Penn State.
Yeah,
Chaz
SMU is
Coleman.
really
Yeah.
heavy on young kids growing on the offensive line, more so than they are guys that they've kept. And they've had a lot of attrition, just transfers, guys paying their offensive linemen out from under them. So I'd go Tennessee, honestly.
Okay,
But
okay.
Yeah,
the
I was-
conversation
Scratch
was
out my
happening
bracket for the
today.
9th time. I've scratched it out 10 times, but that's fine. Tennessee.
Wright State doesn't play football.
SEC bias here on Play the Fight Song. Wright State does not play football. Virginia is the winner. Good for them. Kentucky beats a fake Santa Clara team. Santa Clara doesn't have a football team, do they? There's no shot. They got like 2,000 kids enrolled there.
Iowa State.
And then I think Iowa State sneaks past old Tennessee State there. Hopefully they do on
Thank
Friday
goodness.
as well.
Thank goodness.
Reese, you want to stay there in that region and just do the round of 32 as we go back up? Sorry.
Sure, yeah.
Figured we
Let's
just do that.
Let's kill this region.
Yeah, Iowa State, Kentucky. Iowa State, Kentucky. Both brand new coaches, brand new teams. Who did Kentucky pick up as their quarterback?
Kenny Minchie.
Kenny Minchie.
Will
like
Stein
Kentucky.
brings in
I
Kenny
like-
Minchie, some other
Mark's
weapons on
taking
the
Iowa
offensive side.
Yep. I like Kentucky.
I like Kentucky there too.
I think they're both going to win
think
6 games, and then I think Kentucky's might have more impressive six wins than Iowa
you
State
wanna
at the end of the
piss
year.
some people off
This would
here.
be a good football game too.
Tennessee, Virginia. Didn't we just get this game? No, it was Tennessee, Illinois. But didn't Tennessee and Virginia play each other in like a neutral site? Like, was that last year? Yeah. And Tennessee beat the brakes off them in Nashville.
I think Virginia will be
Nico.
good again, but I don't think they can catch magic in a bottle like they did a season ago. So I'd go Tennessee here.
I would agree. Tech and Alabama, like these next 2 games, boys.
Ooh.
These next. Listen. I like Texas Tech. You got Brandon Sorsby back at quarterback.
Yeah.
You replenish the defensive
Alabama
line.
team, so young last year. It felt
If we played this hypothetically, we're kind of taking if they're going to play this in January, because I'm keeping this bracket around until the end of the year. But like these 2 teams play in September, I like Tech.
Here's why I like Tech. You break in a new quarterback, understanding that one of them's been in the system for a while. Maybe not at Alabama, all of it, but he's been in the system. And Tech just reloads on the defensive front, and Alabama's already had offensive line struggles, and I have to replace 2 or 3 pieces of that.
Reese, you got any rebuttal to Texas Tech being the winner?
No, I was that deep. I think that defense will give whoever Alabama's going to be throwing the ball some fits.
Then Michigan and Georgia. This is this could be a quarterfinal playoff game. Like, this is going to be awesome. I hope we
Reese,
get this
you go
game.
first.
I mean, this is a spot we're playing at the end of the year, you're giving me Kirby Smart versus Kyle Whittingham, a year 1 Kyle Whittingham over there. I'm going to lean Kirby Smart in this spot. I think that's going to have a hell of a lot more implications for the football team in general. Like it'd be a great football game, but it's also like, what's Georgia's identity going to be like? Because when a Georgia team is at the top, it's always that defense that we talk about, and the offense just does the job. So what's Georgia's identity going to be next year for the whole team? I don't know this early, but in this spot, I would lean Georgia.
I agree. And Michigan and Bryce Underwood could prove us wrong, and he could be like the LeBron of college football. Like he could just do it all. But we got to see it first. And right now in March, I would agree. I got to remind myself like 3 times a month that Gunnar Stockton is back at quarterback for Georgia, and I think it's a big deal.
Make Georgia one-dimensional. There's no run game there.
Didn't they pick up a good back?
Georgia, Alabama, week 6 or whatever that was in Athens. It's all over again.
I still lean Georgia.
We could lean,
I still lean Georgia.
I'd lean there.
Situation.
Purdue, Miami. We'll give Miami the nod there. Hopefully, Coach Odom can bounce back the Boilermakers in year 2 just a little bit, but. And then Texas, I think is going to get by Kennesaw State. I don't know how they got so lucky.
That one out. No Amari Odom. He's up north, so they're not getting that one.
Wisconsin, Arkansas. Here's where I think I'll go Wisconsin here. Actually,
who's my quarterback in Arkansas? At Arkansas,
I think it's my boy KJ.
KJ Jackson.
KJ Jackson. Which, if Silverfield can produce everything out of KJ like I can on College Football 26, then Arkansas is going to be a really good team. I'm just a better play caller than Silverfield, I think. So that's my only argument.
Let me tell you, the loser of this game, the head coach is in the hottest water you've ever seen already, because people didn't love the Silverfield hire. They're tired of Fickle. You'll lose this one.
I don't know, but how do you lose this? How did you lose this game? Like, if Wisconsin loses, is it a blowout or are they competitive?
I think we're past that.
Because if we're competitive, what if we're competitive with an SEC? I mean, okay, yeah, fair.
Wisconsin.
They go to
Arizona.
Colton Joseph's turning it around. They're turning it around in this bracket.
We're picking the Badgers.
And I love Arizona over. I think Arizona would just dismantle Utah State this year. I think Arizona's going to be good. All right, let's move it over. Duke, Ohio State. Nobody thinks.
Here we go. Next game.
They think the boys are going to have a good year again for Duke. Get conference title. Okay. Kansas, UNI. Todd Stepsis in year 2 at UNI. I still think Kansas will find a way. With God, dude, I'm worried about Kansas. They got their quarterback this year is that Rice quarterback from last year, where he like ran the triple option his entire year. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, how is that going to translate to the Big 12? I have no idea. But in this case, I think they would beat UNI. UNI's a bad Missouri Valley team.
Oh,
but
man.
Yeah, that's what I got. But here you go, JP. Louisville, North Dakota State. I think Louisville's going to be good this year. Yeah.
What's Lincoln Kienholz?
I love Lincoln Kienholz. Kind of playing his old regionality. The little Pierre kid from Pierre, South Dakota.
Where did he come from? Ohio State.
Ohio State. Came over from Ohio State. I think it's funny. Some of the South Dakota talk is like they think Kienholz is a bust and he's going to end up at like a G5. And I just wholeheartedly disagree because they don't know what Jeff Brom can do.
Come back home.
Yeah, they just think he was in over his britches and they didn't think he was actually that level. And
how many quarterbacks they've seen run through the state of South Dakota?
Yeah. And I was like, guys, Jeff Brom's gonna be his coach. Like he's gonna be fine. Like
we'll take that. But North Dakota State shows up and makes it ugly.
Yeah, I love it. That's fine.
UCF. This is the civil conflict.
Candle, Jason Candle, now at UConn. For those who remember,
civil conflict.
Oh yeah. This is a rivalry game, isn't it?
Yeah, the civil conflict.
Is this a trophy? They went for trophy.
Am I muted?
Only.
No,
Jordan
I got you. No, I hear you, Jordan. I hear what you're saying. I can't believe it. I remember what you're saying now.
The trophy is that the two ADs came together and put this thing together and couldn't come up with a name. They came up with the name, the civil conflict. And there was a trophy for 1 year. And I can't remember who won it, but then nobody ever saw the trophy again. Nobody knows where it's at.
Well, somebody's got it in their garage.
Who won? Yeah. It's probably at UCF. If UCF won the first meeting. I just filled out my bracket U, so we could go either or here. I haven't finished my.
You can go UC. You can literally go UC, and then after that, we have.
God, I can't believe I'm taking Scott Frost to win 2 games here, but that's what I'm doing. UCF here. It's just a different sport, fellas. There's just not upsets. We know this already. This is college football. It's not college basketball. Florida, Iowa. This one's actually interesting. Kind of like
Iowa. We're all year 1 or Ferentz year 28.
Yeah.
I think you.
But I'm so nervous about why we say this.
I think Iowa makes it an Iowa football game.
Yeah, the
game,
Hank Brown thing.
Bowl, 1 billion times.
You know what? I have seen this one before 100 times, and Iowa always wins. Well, I shouldn't say that always, but
not always.
I'm just basing
it's
it off.
It's going to be 21-17 or 23-20 or something.
I think.
Sign me up.
Iowa feels pretty good about their roster this year, from what I've gathered.
Bootleg,
I'm on the record saying I love Florida's transfer class a shit ton.
That's true. You have said that. I'll
stay out of this one. You guys, if you go 1-1, I'll be the deciding vote. If you go 2-0, I won't.
We'll go Iowa. Right. Now this one's also interesting.
Reese is like, okay,
because I don't know what Vandy's win total is, but I bet it's 5 or 6.5, like Nebraska. And true freshman Jared Curtis
6.5.
Playing for Vanderbilt. Thank you, Reese. God, you're all over on the win totals tonight. So do we just be nice? Do we just be nice to Parks? Do we just be nice to Parks?
No, we gave him the Troy win when they proven they haven't beaten Troy.
That's true. That's
Vanderbilt.
I love Clark Lee. I love Clark Lee so much more than
last year's team. Do we end up with the same Iowa Vanderbilt game?
Oh yeah, look at that. That's
kind of cool. Yeah.
So, all right, we'll go Vandy. I love Clark Lee, so that's fine.
Go on,
Illinois. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Prove me wrong, Bill.
A&M?
Prove me wrong.
And we're going
Yeah,
A&M here.
A&M.
Yeah.
How about Wigman playing A&M in this one?
There you go.
Wouldn't that be fun?
What a storyline.
Is going to be improved. But this
I do
is
too. I do
does that
too.
kid win the job this year?
I've told you this. Like if Marcel Reed just takes a step up, I think that could be a national title team. I really do.
Let's knock those out, Reese, while you're there.
I was going to say, I'm saying right here.
Iowa over Vandy.
No. These two right here, Jake.
Oh, okay. What is that? I'm sorry, it's really small. Iowa or Illinois versus A&M. A&M. Like I said, I think A&M is a top 10 team.
This is whatever region this is where Tennessee and Kentucky are coming out of, are the easiest regions I've ever seen.
That would be the Midwest.
Yep.
South again, Iowa Vandy. Iowa would be playing a true freshman quarterback.
Tennessee there, Reese, if you're curious.
Noted.
Sorry.
I'll fill it in. Iowa, right?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Fair enough.
No Diego.
Apparently, inside sources here. Apparently, Clark Lee and Ferentz are kind of buddies. So,
heard Georgia,
Texas Tech. This would be a good.
Oh, we're moving. Okay, we're moving over there. Georgia, Texas Tech.
I need you to go off of what Reese has here, Jake.
Yeah. I got you. Oh, I got you. I'm following. Oh God. Prove me wrong, Texas Tech. I don't think you will, Georgia. Like if this is a playoff game, I just talked about McGuire. Like this is the game McGuire doesn't win. And Georgia, if Texas Tech runs into a big SEC team like this in the playoff next year, I think Georgia or whoever it is, they win. So I would take Georgia.
I think that's a good point Schaefer made of McGuire. I mean, we saw Sorsby last year go against BYU on the road and just not look the part. So let's see what he looks like against.
I
mean, you talk about the schedule this year for the Big 12. It's going to be difficult, but let's see what he's like against an SEC defense. And that's where I have concerns and want to lean Georgia. And I mean, you're also Stocker's coming back as a veteran quarterback. It's a guy who's been there, done that. So
rock with it.
This game, if we're moving up the ladder here, this one's awesome. Again, Miami, Texas. I mean, come on. Texas is my team, by the way, but if you guys outvote me, that is just fine.
For next year's team, I think I would lean Texas as well.
I've been vocal about, Miami made a great run. It just felt like a little bit of a flash in a pan-ish to where, I would like to see Mario Cristobal run through an ACC schedule and not have hiccups.
They still did Miami things last year and lost 2 football games.
Yes.
I'll go Texas, but I'm not.
All right.
Not super positive. How about 51-49%?
There we go.
Arizona, Wisconsin. Again, I love Arizona. So I would take Arizona.
Arizona
over Wisconsin.
Yep.
And then back to the other side, Ohio State, Kansas. Ohio State has just the easiest path here. This is a joke. That's true. Well, Tennessee has Georgia, so at least they have that. Ohio State's got the winner of Louisville, UCF here,
and they're getting Louisville.
Yeah, I'm not picking Scott Frost to win 3 straight games.
Go to the Final Four.
We got our Elite Eight set.
We got our. Let's for the listeners of the podcast, let's go through our Elite Eight matchups. Out of the East, we have Ohio State and Louisville. The South, we have Iowa, Texas A&M. The West, we have Arizona and Texas. And the Midwest, we have Georgia and Tennessee. This is turning out to be a hell of a bracket. My national championship basketball team is still alive, by the way. So not a bad bracket so far. Where are we going? Ohio State, Louisville?
Top
Ohio
left.
State. Ohio State.
Too much on the defensive side.
Stay right there. Hey, another storyline. Lincoln Keegan-Holtz also playing his former team. Love it. Iowa A&M.
Don't make him scroll.
Stay up here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Arizona, Texas.
Yeah, Texas. Come on.
Yep.
Come on. UGA and Tennessee. Tennessee could have a breakout year, but I don't their quarterback situation scares me right now. So
Tennessee was a field goal away from here last year. Yeah.
Georgia, you better go on a hell of a Cinderella run. I tell you what. We gotta have a good bracket here.
Phil Parker and company give Marcel Reed the fits. That's the
question. They will, but do they score?
Golly, I would love to see a Phil Parker defense play.
You got a brand new quarterback. Is my tough problem.
That's true.
This is just Miami A&M. That's all it is.
God, Miami of Ohio's up 10 already. God, I should have taken them. Shit. This
I'm
is
going
like
Aggies.
yeah. But I think this is like a Miami A&M playoff game from last year, like 10-7. You kidding me? Like I think Marcel Reed would be in a blender right now for what I know about Marcel Reed
But
against an
I
Iowa
think
defense.
this is an Iowa team where I think their best bet to score is special teams or getting a pick six. Like I don't know.
So
what their
every year?
offense does. Yeah.
So every
Literally
I think it's-
averaged like the top
So-
4 points last year.
But I'm like, this is the game where like when you have the football, like you're just.
What are we talking? What are we
do.
talking all week on this game? Yeah, how can they get that extra? How
This
can
is
they get that
insane.
extra point? So what a Final Four we have for SEC Homer podcast. Play the fight song. Ohio State taking on A&M. Texas taking on Georgia. Man, for a team of a win total of 9.5, fellas, Ohio State for me is in my national championship game.
I'd probably agree.
I'd argue, yeah, I take
If
that
he
point
struggles
too.
against-
Marcel Reed, tough.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
could you imagine though? Like both these quarterbacks struggled against really really good defenses. If we got this year, like which quarterback makes the next step? If we really do get this in a
Quarterback has
playoff
the
game,
run game.
yeah, also true. But yeah, Ohio State. A&M's not running the ball on Ohio State. If the defense is the same, I guess we're just kind of banking on that. And then Texas for me, I kind of gave it away. Like I love Texas this year. But I would argue like Georgia does have Texas's number. So
Georgia has everybody's number, it feels like.
not
Except for
Alabama. I'll say not Alabama.
They got him back.
So, only school.
That's true. They got him back.
In school.
I'll let you
Yeah,
guys
didn't
decide.
Jordy said, no, I'm going to you first, JP.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, you're not going to need a vote then.
You're going
I'll
to
go
Texas?
Texas. Good
Let's
choice.
see.
Good choice.
Okay, you guys got him. I was going to lean Georgia in that spot, but here we go.
Here we go. Years different.
The-
Ohio State and Texas. Now this is a good argument. Me, again, you know where I'm going with it. I love Texas this year.
Just
I
give me
love
the Big Tenism.
Reese, you're our pick.
I'm going with the. I'm not going.
Ah,
I'm not going away. I think it was also the argument we had last year with Texas. We're so high on them, and then I mean, still go 9-3. You have a somewhat successful season. You don't fall the face of the earth, but you gotta show it again this year.
I cannot wait to actually look back on this next year. That's actually going to be a blast. We'll look back. Maybe we'll look back on it when we do it again in next year. Was doing the hypotheticals more fun than this year? Like
I think so for sure.
Because like we know, the answers if we do the 2025 version. Like there's no arguments to anything because like we know the answer. A lot of these teams we've
What
seen
was
them play on
Ohio
the
State's
field.
path?
Ohio State's was just a cakewalk. It was unbelievable. They saw
TCU,
they saw Duke,
Kansas,
TCU.
Louisville, A&M.
It got a little tougher at the end, but it wasn't anything I think they're sweating over if Ohio State sees that path.
Texas
this
had a
year.
hell of a path, didn't they? Or were they up top?
Texas saw Miami.
Tennessee,
I guess
Georgia.
Georgia
Had an easy path.
Kennesaw, Miami, Arizona. I guess they kind of did too once they got past Miami, but yeah, they still saw Miami, which is anything tougher than what Ohio State had.
Oh, I'm submitting this bracket.
Yeah, submit that. Crazy thing.
47.
Kid at work told me the other day, dude's filling out 500 brackets. I don't know where he's at.
There's
I
no
mean,
way.
how many email addresses do you have to make up to do it on Yahoo, ESPN, CBS? Like how many? What are we doing?
Kid's a liar.
Somebody had that take. I think it was Halliburton also tweeted out like if you're making a bracket, like I think you have one and you like.
Yep, you got one. What before we get out of here, who is your guys' national championship or champion in March Madness?
Can't tell you.
Oh my god! Stop.
We're in a bracket pool.
Arizona for me. Arizona.
I was about to say when you mentioned that in the bracket, I was like, he has to have Arizona, doesn't he?
Arizona's my team. I love that pick. Houston's in my Final Four. I love it. You're also pretty basic because I think a lot of the CBS guys had Houston. I was listening to.
A lot of other people have Arizona.
There you go. Reese, did you fill out a bracket?
I have not filled it out yet. Spoilers if I'm going to do one though.
Quit clicking your pen. That's what I gotta say.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Microphone, you can hear that. Let's see. I want to be one of those guys, but because what was it, Chase? You were mentioning, so we talked about something before, like you couldn't name like a baseball player or something like that. Like I couldn't name you. I was talking about this with Max in Mexico. I couldn't name you a single basketball player in college right now.
I got to be honest. I'm not far behind you.
I know there's a couple boozers on Duke.
Yep.
And that's about it. And then there's some AJ kid at
BYU. Yep, he's pretty good.
I don't know if they'll make it. I could probably name you a lot. I mean, obviously coaches are more popular, but it's like I couldn't name you that many players this year. It's had I could tell, and since we moved out of the 12-09, I don't think I have watched a full half of college basketball either.
I feel like I got FOMO this year just because of all the lack of basketball I've watched, just because we were just kind of grinding college football until the middle of January. And then once we get to the tournament and I don't know anything about these teams, like that's when my FOMO kind of came out. I'm like, I have no idea.
And like the March Madness, why it's so awesome too is like you can do all the research and all these things. It can just come down to the day of like your guys aren't making shots, and this random school is like we're gonna show up. So,
good to hear from Parks. Parks,
the magic.
Hope you're doing good, buddy. Hope you get home safe. We miss you. We'll see you next week. Again, my name is Jake. That's Reese.
Hey,
that's JP. We'll be back here next week as we are sickos and we cover college football all year long. Before you jump out of here, if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the podcast, give us a review. We don't ever get podcast reviews that often. So any podcast listeners, leave us a nice review. Leave us a nice review. We appreciate you all. Enjoy your first weekend of March Madness. We'll be back next week. Till then, see you next time. Let's play it.